Chaos Titans are heavily corrupted, twisted reflections of a once imperial god engine. These demon-possessed war machines, mostly originating from the traitorous Titan legions during the Horus Heresy, are mutilated by the warp, merging their crews with the machine and becoming demonic amalgamations of grime, gore, and decrepit skeletal frames that are fueled by the dark mechanicum to destroy the Imperium.
Brothers and sisters of the Warhammer universe, welcome back to Tortuga's Grim Rosaline. My name is Jeff, and today we're going to continue on with Chapter 6 of our Chaos Warlord Titan build. We finished all of our fabrication and build, and that's now behind us, and it's time finally to move on to the painting. And today we're going to focus on the Titan body, or bones if you will, and we're going to show you how to do a grimdark, desolate, rusty, grime-filled structure that'll install nightmares into anybody standing on the opposite side of the table from you. But first, before we get into that, I need you to do all those YouTube thingies that you do so well down there. Click on like, share, subscribe. And now that that's out of the way, let's do this.
So here's a list of all the paints that we'll be using on this build. Brothers and sisters, we've made it. It's finally time to start painting the Titan body. But before we start painting the body, we first need to take masking tape, and we need to apply it onto any areas that are connectors that will be connecting the armor plates to the Titan itself. We want to keep these as clean as possible so when we go to epoxy these on, that they're going to have a nice firm connection. Once the masking tape is done, we can start using our airbrush, and we're going to be applying the Vallejo black primer all over our Titan. And you can see here, because of how big this build is, I had to get creative and make my own little backdrop to hold on to the paint spray. And we're going to be doing 2 coats of the black primer on here, and you're going to have to maneuver the Titan lower body around and hit every angle. We want to make sure that everything is fully coated on the black primer and that we have no open areas. With the lower body all primed, we're going to make our way up to the upper body, and again, masking tape on any areas that we're going to be using to connect armor plates or anything else to the Titan body. Besides the masking tape, here's where I'm going to start applying a lot of the accessories that I made to put on here, including skulls, chains, and spikes. And this will be an ideal stage also before the primer to start putting any filler in that you see in any open spaces, maybe anything that your accessories aren't fully matching against the Titan body. We'll put this on here so when you put that primer on, it'll mask everything. And with all that initial prep work done, we can start priming the upper body. Again, we're going to be using the Vallejo Primer Black, and we're going to be spraying over every area. We're going to be shifting this in many different angles as possible to make sure that we have a full coverage of this primer and that we leave nothing open. Once we finish that, we're going to let it dry for a little bit, and we're going to go back around again with a second coating of the Vallejo Black Primer. And just showing the sheer size of this Titan with the different angles and the amount of primer that I have to keep going back and refilling on my airbrush to get this whole thing taken care of just shows you how massive this build is. Next, we're going to base paint the Fallen Titan's shoulder armor with Vallejo's True Metallic Metal Celestial Violet, and then use a sponge to do the shading effect around the corners and edges of all of the armor plates. Next, we're going to be using Retributor armor to do all of the trim and the logos on the Fallen Titan's shoulder armor. And seeing that this is a metallic color, we're going to be doing 2 coats of this to really bring that color out. Unfortunately, I didn't notice it until I started uploading some of my videos that my camera that I was using started glitching and was corrupting videos. I had to buy a new camera to replace it, so some things will be missed, but I will be covering them in here. So you're going to notice that the Titan body already has a nice metallic finish to it from the black primer. What I did is I did a series of dry brushing of Citadel's Leadbelcher over the entire lower body. Next, we're going to be using Dark Reaper to paint all of the cables and tubes around the Titan body. And this type of color, especially with the black and the Leadbelcher, we want to make sure we give this 2 coats to really bring that color out and have it stand out. I'm not going to lie, this is one of my favorite colors that I like to use whenever I'm doing cables or tubes or anything on any type of Chaos Grimdark build. It just looks really good and gives that nice aesthetic. Next, we're going to be using Vallejo's Model Color Copper, and we're going to be using this on all of the cogs, the gears, the pistons, any of the trim areas on the Titan body, anything that we want to bring out to give that nice color. And always remember, because we're dealing with a metallic color here, you always want to use 2 coats of this. First coat might come out kind of a little splotchy and everything. Don't worry about it. Let it dry a little bit. Give that second coating on there, and it's really going to pop out. So now that we have all the base colors done on the lower Titan body, we're going to move on to AK Streaking Grime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my airbrush, and if you don't have an airbrush, you can go ahead and brush this onto the Titan itself. I like the way it looks through the airbrush, and I'm going to spray this over the entire lower Titan body, including the fallen Titan's shoulder armor. And once we've finished airbrushing this, I'm going to give it about 5 to 10 minutes to let this sit and dry, and then I'm going to come back with Q-tips, and I'm going to start dabbing off areas where I want to start to bring that metallic color back up a little bit more. This streaking grime is going to settle into all the crevices, nooks, and crannies perfectly, and the areas that we keep it in some places are going to make this real dingy, grimy effect that we want to have on this Titan. With the bottom of our Titan all based in grime, we can now move back up to the top part of our Titan, and we can start off with the Dark Reaper. And again, we're going to be using this on all of our cables and tubes across the body of the upper Titan. Next up, we're going to be using Vallejo's Copper and Vallejo's Chrome, and we're going to be using these to go over all of the piston shafts, any cog areas, highlights, anywhere that we'd be using for our copper areas, such as the skull models on the front and back of the system, the chrome off highlighting chains going down the system, or any areas such as those. And because we are dealing with metallics, we will be doing 2 thin coats of these to really bring out those colors and make everything pop. And at this stage, we can go ahead and start adding our last fabrication pieces onto our Titan body. These were things that might have been a little too delicate to start putting on in the beginning while going through everything, such as the series of chains you can see that I'm hanging off the back here, or even the spikes going off the ventilation system. With our base paints and our last fabricated pieces all attached to the system, it's time to coat everything on the upper body with the streaking grime. We want to make sure that we really hit this only on the upper body. We don't want to overly darken anything on the lower body with this airbrushing. And after letting this sit for about 10-15 minutes, we're going to go right back in with Q-tips, and we're going to start coming and lightly touching up any areas that we might feel are too concentrated with that streaking grime, or areas that we just want that grime to go into the nooks and crannies and maybe not on the generalized areas. And we finally made it to my personal favorite chapter of this, the Grimdark style of this paint job. We're going to use Villainy Inks Coelia Green and Sector Rust to finish things up. And we're going to put the Coelia Green on all of the copper areas to give that nice oxidation effect, as well as the Sector Rust on any metallics going throughout the body, and especially on chains or anything along those. After we apply these, we're going to set the hairdryer and dry these in to really bring out those effects. And if anything feels too overdone or too less, we can either use Q-tips to thin those areas out, or reapply and re-go back at it with the hairdryer. And there you have it, a rusted out, oxidized, chaos Warlord Titan that looks like it crept out of the hell of a catacomb from your worst nightmare. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you might have learned something new that you can use on one of your next builds. And like I always say, Grim for the Grim Rosaline.